The air at Tokyo's Haneda airport yesterday, June 3rd, 2026, was thick with an electric, almost kinetic energy that hasn't been felt on such a scale in years. By the early hours of the morning, the terminal began to transform into a sea of purple as thousands of devoted fans, known globally as ARMY, converged upon the arrivals area with a singular, fervent focus. They were there for one person, Jungkook, the global superstar and youngest member of BTS. What began as a rumor on social media quickly ballooned into a logistical spectacle that left airport security, local law enforcement, and seasoned onlookers completely breathless. The sheer volume of people was staggering, stretching far beyond the designated viewing zones and spilling into the main transit corridors, creating a human tapestry of anticipation that defied logic. This wasn't just a crowd, it was a testament to the enduring, unwavering power of BTS, a group that has transcended the boundaries of music to become a global cultural phenomenon. As the minutes ticked by, the atmosphere oscillated between breathless silence and sudden, deafening chants of his name, a rhythmic pulse that seemed to vibrate through the very floor of the airport. It is impossible to discuss this event without looking back at the collective journey of the 7 members who redefined the modern music industry. BTS, consisting of RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook, has spent over a decade dismantling barriers, not just in music charts, but in the hearts of millions across the globe. Their bond, forged in the fires of rigorous training and global scrutiny, has remained the cornerstone of their success. When we look at Jungkook standing alone in the spotlight today, we are seeing the culmination of that shared history, a reflection of the lessons learned from his older brothers who paved the way. The fans gathered at Haneda weren't just waiting for an idol, they were waiting for a piece of the history that all 7 members built together. The scene was chaotic, yes, but it was also deeply emotional. Many fans stood with their eyes glued to the arrival gates, their hands trembling, holding light sticks that flickered with a soft, persistent purple glow. There is a profound story behind this level of devotion, a story that ties back to the time when BTS was just a group of underdogs from a small agency, dreaming of a stage that would accommodate their ambition. Every member has contributed a vital piece to this mosaic of global influence. RM's leadership, Jin's unwavering presence, Suga's raw lyrical genius, J-Hope's unmatched energy, Jimin's artistic grace, and V's unique vocal depth all coalesce within the brand of excellence that Jungkook now carries into these solo ventures. Watching the security details struggle to create a path, one couldn't help but notice the respect even the most frenzied fans maintained. It was a chaotic chaos, a beautiful paradox that only this fandom seems capable of orchestrating. The level of detail here is crucial because, as you continue to watch and read, you will realize that this event is a bridge to something much larger that is currently unfolding behind the scenes. The anticipation was palpable, a physical weight that seemed to press down on the glass partitions separating the sterile arrivals hall from the chaotic, passionate reality of the fans waiting outside. Cameras were positioned at every conceivable angle, capturing the expressions of fans who had traveled from across the globe just to catch a glimpse of the superstar. You have to wonder what goes through a performer's mind when they step off a plane and are immediately greeted by such an overwhelming wave of affection. It is a level of fame that is both a gift and a heavy burden, a reality that Jungkook has navigated with grace, even as he carves out his own path outside of the group's traditional schedule. The influence of the other members is never far behind, though. Even when they are apart, the collective spirit of BTS remains, an invisible tether that binds them and their fans together in a way that is rarely seen in the entertainment industry. The energy at the airport was not just for the music, it was for the person, the journey, and the promise of what is yet to come. As the minutes turned into hours, the crowd only grew, refusing to dissipate, their patience as steadfast as their loyalty. Every small movement near the gate sparked a roar that echoed through the terminal, causing heads to turn and hearts to race. This is the power of a legend, a living, breathing testament to the fact that music, when crafted with honesty and passion, can literally stop time and command the attention of entire nations. We are witnessing a moment in real time that will be analyzed, documented, and remembered for years to come as a turning point in the post-hiatus era of K-pop. And honestly, you need to pay close attention to the smaller details because they are where the real narrative is hidden. As we transition into this second phase of the unfolding story, it becomes clear that the sheer magnitude of the crowd at Haneda was merely the surface of a much deeper, more complex cultural occurrence. The silence that preceded the eventual appearance was the most striking part of the day. It was as if thousands of people held their breath in unison, creating a void that was both unsettling and incredibly powerful. This moment, this specific instance of waiting, serves as a masterclass in the influence BTS wields, proving that their hiatus or solo focus has done nothing to dampen the fires of their popularity. If anything, it has fanned the flames. When we examine the careers of RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, and V, we see a parallel trajectory of individual growth contributing to a stronger collective unit. Each of them has navigated the pressure of the spotlight differently, yet they have all maintained that core connection to the fans that started it all. Jungkook, often characterized as the golden maknae, represents the evolution of this entire group. He is the bridge between the youthful energy of their early days and the sophisticated global artistry they possess today. The scene at the airport wasn't just about him, it was a celebration of the path they all paved. The way he stepped out, his demeanor calm yet clearly moved by the sheer number of people, showed a level of maturity that comes from years of experience on the world stage. It's important to understand that this isn't just about fan service or celebrity culture, it is about a shared human experience where music has become the language of connection. The ripple effects of this day are being felt across the industry, with analysts already debating the impact on travel, tourism, and even local security logistics in Japan. What is truly fascinating is how the other BTS members remain present in the narrative even when they are physically absent. Every time a fan holds a sign that mentions the group or wears a color associated with the other members, the message is clear. They are a unit and their success is indivisible. This level of loyalty is unprecedented in modern history, and it poses a question about the future of celebrity and fandom. As Jungkook navigated the terminal, the security team was forced to navigate the sheer sea of humanity, yet the narrative held firm. There was no aggression, only a collective surge of excitement that felt almost poetic in its intensity. The details of the day, the specific clothing he chose, the way he waved, the momentary look of awe on his face, these are the things that fans will dissect for weeks. But more importantly, it shows that the bond between BTS and their audience is far stronger than any physical distance or professional pause. The narrative of their rise is a story of resilience, of 7 individuals who turned their personal struggles into a global anthem for self-love and growth. That legacy is why thousands of people stood in a crowded airport for hours without complaint. It is why the world continues to watch every move they make with such intent. We are seeing a shift in how idols are perceived and how they interact with their public, moving toward a more transparent, human, and authentic connection. As this day concluded, the impact was immediate. Social media platforms were flooded with content, trending topics were dominated by the event, and the global conversation shifted toward the future of the group. If you were looking for signs of the next chapter in the BTS story, look no further than this moment at Haneda. It wasn't just a travel itinerary, it was a statement. It was a clear, unambiguous message that the momentum has not slowed, the fire has not dimmed, and the story is far from over. The quiet confidence displayed by everyone involved, from the fans waiting in the shadows to the security details to the artist himself, is a reflection of the strength that BTS has cultivated over the last 13 years. This is the new reality of the music world, a landscape where the fans are just as much a part of the narrative as the stars themselves, and where every single detail, every glance, and every whisper carries the weight of 1,000 headlines. We will continue to follow these developments, keeping a close eye on the subtle shifts in the landscape that suggest what the next major move will be. Keep watching, keep listening, and keep track of these moments, because they are the building blocks of the next great era in music history. The journey of these 7 men is far from complete, and if today's events at Haneda taught us anything, it is that the world will be watching, waiting, and ready for whatever comes next, because in the world of BTS, nothing is ever just a small moment. Everything is a part of something much, much bigger.
Part 3. The hidden details that change everything. As we peel back the layers of what occurred at Haneda, it is essential to focus on the nuances that casual observers might miss, the subtle, almost imperceptible details that serve as the true catalysts for what happens next. In the world of global superstardom, nothing is ever purely coincidental, and the arrival of Jungkook was no exception. When we look at the specific logistics of his transit, the timing, and the coordinated efforts behind the scenes, we find a carefully constructed narrative of transition. Why Japan? Why now? And why such a public, high-visibility arrival in the middle of a strategic industry shift? It is here that the influence of the other BTS members becomes tangible. Think back to the collective history of RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, and V. Their individual solo projects were never just about personal expression. They were chapters in a larger, meticulously planned narrative of evolution. Every move one member makes is supported, mirrored, or complemented by the others, a chess game played on a global scale. The fans in the airport weren't just reacting to a face, they were reacting to the gravity of a movement that is currently in a state of rapid, silent acceleration. You must watch the footage again, specifically the moments before he exited the secured gate. Look at the subtle shifts in his demeanor, the way he acknowledged the environment with a calm, almost preternatural awareness. This is the mark of an artist who knows exactly what his presence signifies. While the media focuses on the numbers and the spectacle, the real story lies in the precision of the orchestration. The collaboration between international security teams, the logistical planning of his transit, and the calculated release of information. All of these elements suggest that this was a planned focal point in a much larger strategy. It is not just about the music or the fame, it is about the reassertion of dominance in an industry that often tries to move on too quickly from its icons. By choosing to appear in such a vulnerable yet controlled setting, Jungkook, and by extension the collective consciousness of BTS, is signaling that the power dynamic hasn't shifted, it has simply matured. The fans who remained for hours despite the heat and the intensity of the crowd were witnesses to this. They felt the shift in the air. This is why the narrative of their unity is so resilient. Even when they are not in the same room or even the same country, their brand is one of absolute cohesion. The way fans instinctively honor the presence of the other members through their chants, their signs, and their attire creates a persistent, unifying theme that defies the limitations of distance. This is the small detail that changes everything. The understanding that the hiatus is not an end, but a transformation. Every single fan at Haneda was participating in a massive collaborative effort to keep the flame alive, to ensure that the anticipation remains at a fever pitch until the moment they choose to return in full force. When you look at the industry landscape in 2026, you see a market that is constantly chasing the next trend, the next viral moment, the next short-term success. But BTS stands apart precisely because they operate on a different timeline, a legacy timeline. Their moves are deliberate, calculated, and aimed at long-term relevance rather than ephemeral clicks. The scene at Haneda was a masterclass in this. It was a reaffirmation of the bond between 7 individuals and the millions of people who have followed them since the beginning. As you process the magnitude of what happened, remember that the smallest detail, a glance at a camera, the specific timing of his exit, the quiet interaction with a single fan, often contains the hint of the next major announcement. This event was not a conclusion, it was a prologue. It is the beginning of a period where the global impact of these 7 men will be felt more intensely than ever before. We are standing on the precipice of a new era, and if you aren't paying attention to the intricate, hidden details of these public appearances, you are missing the most important part of the story. The narrative is evolving, the stakes are rising, and the world is watching, because everyone knows that when BTS moves, the entire industry shifts to accommodate them. Stay tuned, because the next phase of this story is already in motion, and it promises to be the most significant one yet.